One of the things about human nature is that the more we become accustomed to certain things, the more things are part of our daily routine, we often start to take those things for granted. I mean, a recent example, a tragic example. I'm sure we're all still reeling from the shock of the 4 police officers who were killed the other day. Terrible. I mean, it's been horrific. As a police chaplain, I've seen the effect it's had on, all their colleagues, and of course for the wider Victorian community. But it has been amazing to see all of a sudden the outpouring of love and concern and care for all of those who give, every single day. They put their lives on the line. But the interesting thing is, before this massive shock, before this wake-up call where we see what police officers do every single day, I think people would take for granted the police officers, not necessarily thanking them when they see them on the street, not necessarily understanding the risks that they put every single day when they go out to work. The wake-up call has happened and people understand, and of course we hope that this will continue to make people understand and appreciate what police go through every single day. The coronavirus is another great example. All of us, I'm sure, have recognized things in our lives that we took for granted. It might be going to the gym, even going to shul. I know for me personally, I never necessarily thought of going to shul as a luxury. It seemed part of life. Now that I can't go to shul and be with other people, I understand that I had taken it for granted. And I'm sure the list can go on in each and every one of our lives. Socializing, being with a group of people. Who could have ever have imagined that that was something that we would appreciate? We start to take things for granted. In our parsha we'll read this week, obviously we won't be reading it here at South Caulfield Shul, but hopefully somewhere around the world people will be reading the double portion of Tazria and Mitzorah. I did write an article which touched on this point, but I'd like to stress it more now. And that is, in the parsha of Tazria, we are told that a woman who gives birth needs to bring 2 offerings, an olah offering and a chatat offering, a thanksgiving one and a sin offering. And of course, many commentators question, why would a woman who's just given birth have to bring a sin offering? What did she do wrong? And one of the ideas, and there's many different answers expressed, but one of the ideas is that when she has this child, it's at that point, it's not necessarily a sin offering for the immediate effect or for what has occurred. It's a sin offering for the future. It's telling her that right now you are so impressed and so mesmerized and amazed by this new life that you've had the privilege of bringing into the world. But fast forward down the line, your child's 4, 5, 10, 15, and you start to take for granted that child. You start to shout at the child and perhaps become desensitized to the miracle of this life that you have brought into this world. And so that's why the sin offering is brought. It's not for now, it's almost forgiving her and perhaps all of us for understanding that there's going to be times we're going to take things for granted. And hopefully inspiring us to say, let's remember the beauty of these things that Hashem has given us. Let's remember the beauty of the sun rising and the sun setting. Each day we wake up and we have this breath of life. Let us not forget of that miracle. We're going to be commemorating this afternoon. Of course, tomorrow the entire country will be commemorating ANZAC Day. And I think here again, we need to listen to this message of Tazria. Here again, we have to recognize, let's not take for granted what those brave men and women did, sacrificing their lives for our freedoms. How many times have we gone through our lives where we haven't appreciated the democracy in which we live? We haven't appreciated the rights that we have, but thanks to who? To those who have fought for our freedoms. And when we commemorate ANZAC Day, it's really asking us to remember their sacrifice. Don't forget what they did in order for us to live the way in which we do live. And so this year, I think there's an extra special requirement to wake ourselves up and to say, you know what, life goes by very quickly. Life sometimes, as we said, becomes a routine and we take things for granted. Let's not forget the miracles that are around us each and every day. Let's not take for granted everything that God has given us. And of course, let's not take for granted what those brave men and women of the ANZACs did for all of us and continue to do, in the sense that their spirit and their sacrifice is affecting us each and every single day. So may their memory always be for blessing. Let's look around our own lives and remember how we can honor their memory. And I think the best way to do that is to appreciate the things that we have. And in doing so, of course, I'm sure it gives them comfort in some spiritual sense that their sacrifice was not for nothing. Wishing you and yours a Shabbat Shalom, a wonderful weekend ahead, and of course, please God, we only have good news going forward. Thank you and all the best.